certainly hope we do open as many prisons as possible to round up as many illegal aliens that have invaded our country and those that are breaking our laws, killing our citizens, women and children, and causing complete havoc across our great land. I support the Laken Riley Act, and I support the Laken Riley Act because Laken Riley should be alive today. And she would be alive today if it hadn't been for the Democrats and the Biden administration that ripped our border open and allowed this illegal alien monster to come into our country.
Well, that's one way to start off a speech on the House floor. If you ever hear an elected official celebrating the creation of even more prisons, despite our country already holding the highest number of incarcerated people in the world, just know that it has more to do with what the suspected prisoners look like instead of the severity of the crimes they allegedly committed.
And then in the state of New York, when this monster was arrested for committing crimes, the Democrat state of New York let him go. And that's how he came down to Georgia and murdered our Laken Riley. This is a bill that cannot get passed enough, and I'm so thankful that the American people overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump so that we can sign this bill into law, and it can't happen fast enough. The Democrats on the other side of the aisle complain and whine and defend illegal aliens that break the law the minute they cross our border is pathetic. The American people are so sick and tired of it. They cannot believe what our country has gone through. And it is enough. It is absolutely enough. But they will go on to defend anyone that is not American because of their America Last policies. You talk about tax dollars used. Our tax dollars should be used defending Americans. And you want to talk about spending a lot of money? Spending a lot of money should happen for American causes, American purposes, and American security. But people that come across our border illegally are not Americans, and they do not have rights here. And that is exactly why anytime they break a law, anytime they cross into our country, they should be rounded up and shipped out as fast as possible. And if we need to build more prisons, then we'll do it. Because the American people will support it.
Anytime an individual refers to another human being as an illegal alien, I really hate that. Because you strip them of their humanity. You're calling them an alien. That's incredibly offensive. And then two, they're illegal. No human being is illegal. Maybe somebody entered the country illegally, but they as a human are not illegal in any shape or form. And here's the other thing. Republicans and far too many Democrats, they dehumanize criminals to the extent that they do because some of them have been recipients of campaign funds from for-profit prisons. That is not an opinion. That is a fact. So that is why you see the two parties, the Republicans and some Democrats, engaging in this type of behavior and the rhetoric. This bigoted, anti-freedom, pro-mass incarceration outburst from MTG came in direct response to AOC defending the human rights of immigrants and criminals as a whole, which only makes it that much more disgusting.
Because we stand here just 2 days after President Trump gave unconditional pardons to violent criminals who attacked our nation's capital on January 6th. And these are the people who want you to believe, who want us to believe that they're trying to, quote unquote, keep criminals off the streets. When they are opening the floodgates. I want the American people to know what is in this bill. Because in the guise and in the wake of tragedy, we are seeing a fundamental erosion of our civil rights. In this bill, if a person is so much as accused of a crime, if someone wants to point a finger and accuse someone of shoplifting, they will be rounded up and put into a private detention camp and sent out for deportation without a day in court, without a moment to assert their right and without a moment to assert the privilege of innocent until proven guilty. Without being found guilty of a crime, they will be rounded up. That is what is inside this bill, a fundamental suspension of a core American value.
Look, we all know that Republicans could not care less about law and order whenever their side of the aisle is involved. But that doesn't make the glaring hypocrisy easier to stomach. While the bill directs DHS officials to detain an undocumented person who is arrested for low-level crimes like shoplifting, theft, burglary, and other offenses, the real power of the soon-to-be law comes from threats, intimidation tactics, and vigilante violence it implicitly justifies.
If you're a dreamer, all someone has to do is point a finger and you will be rounded up. And we have seen moments like these happen before. In the Patriot Act, in the wake of the travesty of 9/11, a fundamental suspension of American civil liberties. That is what we are seeing here today. Mr. Speaker, you may wonder why so many of our friends across the aisle who care so deeply about the rule of law happen to be so desperate to pass this bill after they are unleashing people who attacked police officers here on this Capitol into roaming our streets, who are publicly saying now they want to get a gun. Suddenly, these folks care about public safety? I don't think so. They know that the capacity is not there. And you know what will be there? Private prison companies are going to get flooded with money, who give this money, no doubt. I want folks at home to look. Look at what members of Congress are invested in private prison companies who receive this kind of money, and look at the votes on this bill. It is atrocious that people are lining their pockets with private prison profits in the name of a horrific tragedy and the victim of a crime. It is shameful. It is absolutely shameful. In a few months, there are members of Congress who voted for this bill who are going to pretend they didn't know about all the bad things that are going to happen because of it. So when a private prison camp opens in your town, when a dreamer...
Time has expired. I yield the gentlelady an additional 30 seconds.
So when a private prison camp opens in your town and they say, we didn't know this was going to happen, know that they did, and they voted for it. When a dreamer is disappeared from your classroom, when the President of the United States destroys what is left of the Constitution as he's announced in this attack on birthright citizenship, they will all say, we didn't know this was coming. And I want the American people to know that they did. This vote represents it.
So I really like the response Sarah Mehta had in reaction to the vote, right? Because it's true. You're going to see the largest expansion of mandatory detention with all these things in that bill, and it's going to rip families apart even more. And again, you are dehumanizing and you are targeting so many people who are innocent that are just trying to get their family in a better situation. But because of what this bill could allow and how officials, government officials can just look at a person and say, oh, are you documented? Are you undocumented? You know, that could get very dangerous. And it's not making America safer. It's not at all. And as they point out, as Sarah points out, you know, there are Democrats in the Senate who have voted against the bill. And so it's really important for the people in power to have a backbone and come up with some sensible immigration reform. Because what this does, that's not it. Okay? It doesn't offer any solutions whatsoever. And it's likely an unconstitutional bill. The fact that you are going to ship people off and rip them from their families because of a shoplifting, because a woman, a mother, stole from a store so she could get diapers for her kid?